टी शर्ट डाला था पतला। वो उस टाइम बैठी उधर, मैं इधर बैठा, मैं डिनर कर रहा हूँ। अच्छा,
So very good evening to all of you. So we are starting now.
Hello, sir. Mm.
Yeah, so
Yes, so I'll do the intro part. Then you
yeah,
can
sure.
start.
Yeah, fine.
Hello and welcome everyone. I am Shubh Parmar, your host for today's webinar. My team and I are here to make sure you have a seamless and engaging experience. If you have any questions or need assistance, feel free to use the chat window. We are here to help. The topic for today is AI for leaders. This is the Advantage India Skilling and AI NSI initiative by Microsoft aimed at empowering the future with AI skills at scale. It highlights key focus areas such as data and AI, Office 365 Copilot, GitHub Copilot, prompt engineering, and security. The initiative emphasizes the role of AI in skill development and digital transformation. Anyone who is interested to join these sessions, please connect with us. Or anyone who wants to organize these exclusive sessions in your organization or college, please do let us know as these sessions are absolutely free. Today's event is sponsored by Synergetics and Microsoft. Before we dive into today's session, let me take a moment to introduce Synergetics and Microsoft. Synergetics is a leading edge learning solutions provider in India, offering specialized training and consulting services. We empower businesses and professionals to thrive in today's fast evolving tech landscape by delivering transformative learning experiences. Our core focus is on enabling digital transformation through innovative skilling programs, advisory services, and end to end implementation support. From modernizing IT frameworks to mastering emerging technologies like AI, cloud computing, and DevOps, Synergetics is committed to equipping you with the tools and knowledge to succeed. These are the learning solutions which are offered by Synergetics, which are persona-based onboarding, onboarding add-on, certification, certification add-on, reskilling, emerging technology training, certification hackathon, cloud adoption, latest technology training, sales, pre-sales training, practice playbook, and architecting. This is the Microsoft certification skilling journey. The journey begins with the fundamental certification, then progresses to advanced role based certifications, and finally to expert level certifications. It is my pleasure to introduce Navjyoti Barrow as he is a Microsoft certified trainer and currently working with Synergetics as AVP Technology. The agenda for this webinar is understanding artificial intelligence, AI in business, opportunities and applications, strategic implementation of AI, ethical and responsible AI leadership, crafting your AI strategy, navigating challenges in AI adoption. You have to follow the code of conduct, which will create a respectful environment for all the participants. Please note that the participants are not allowed to take screenshot of the presentation and cannot do the screen recording. Do follow us on our social media platforms to get relevant updates on upcoming webinars, workshops, certification training programs we do. We run communities on Meetup. This is the emerging technology community. Anyone who are eager to learn about technological knowledge can join this community on Meetup. We have multiple communities in Pune, Gujarat, Nagpur, and Indore. Those who are interested to join this community, please log in to Meetup app and gain your knowledge for free. Thank you so much everyone for listening to me. Now we'll hand over the mic to our speaker.
Yeah, thank you, Suf, for the introductions and setting the context for this today's training. So let me pull out my PPT. So hope I'm audible to all of you and hope you can see my PPT as well. Okay. All right. So hope everybody can hear me and hope everybody can see the PPT. Before I get started, okay. So let me set the context and the agenda for today's training. So as you can see, we'll start with introduction to generative AI. Then we will be talking about underlying concept of the generative AI. Then the use cases where the generative AI would be used. And the prompt engineering through which you can make generative AI more relevant into your own context. And then we'll end with responsible AI framework. It's all about how ethically we need to align with artificial intelligence while we are going to use in our day-to-day life or maybe in our own workload and workflow. So as I said, it's a very small introductory course, means the training. And this particular, the webinar is going to give you overall understanding of artificial intelligence and their ecosystem. And as a leader tomorrow, if you have to use an artificial intelligence, primarily we'll be talking about the generative AI, that you will be able to anticipate or you'll be able to kind of identify the different area of implementations. Maybe it is relevant to your own, the workload that you are managing, you are developing, you are architecting, or maybe some other domain, but you will be able to anticipate or you will be able to understand how in a day-to-day basis artificial intelligence can be used. And of course, before we go and use them, we need to know the terminology around the artificial intelligence. So that is the objective of this particular session. Feel free to ask questions in between. So you can go to a team chat, you can drop your questions. I'll be happy to answer to your questions anytime. So with that, let's get started. Now, what is artificial intelligence? Okay, so you can see, you cannot see, I'll reshare my screen one more time if you cannot see it. Let me do it one more time. Just a minute. Okay, so hope you can see it now because I have reshared this, Anushka. Okay, just let us know. Okay, let's get started with what is the artificial intelligence and their ecosystem. Now, of course, by definition, artificial intelligence is a subject where you can build system and application and delegate the human task to those system and application. Means you can offload the task that is typically done by the human to the application and system. So in the a field of artificial intelligence, you can design that kind of solutions. You can develop that kind of solutions to offload the human capability into the applications and the system. But how am I supposed to do that? Although we are not going to start developing something, because this would be a kind of from the end user point of views. So we are going to figure out what possibly we can do use of by using the existing technology and tools. But to understand the artificial intelligence, we must understand two things categorically. One is called machine learning and the deep learning. So machine learning and deep learning both is a subset of artificial intelligence where we are going to get different tools and framework through which you can train artificial intelligence model, which is typically called as a brain of the AI, the brain of artificial intelligence. So this machine learning is capable of learn from the data. Deep learning is also capable of learn from the complex data. So once they can learn from the data and subsequently they can do the inference with the similar kind of problems that data was represented for. So we can do many things by training machine learning models and deep learning models. So we are going to talk about that, what kind of task the machine learning and deep learning can perform. But yes, I said the human task. Previously, human was doing all kind of tasks. Today, it can be delegated to the application. So your application is capable of delivering the human task. And behind the applications, the machine learning and deep learning is responsible for creating the brain for those AI applications and systems. So we are just looking from the terminology point of view without going into a deep understanding of machine learning and deep learning. But the difference between the deep learning and machine learning, deep learning can be used to learn from more complex data than the machine learning. So you can give solutions to the more complex problems in the field of artificial intelligence by using deep learning tools and frameworks. So essentially, by using tools and frameworks, we can train a model. As I said, the model is the key. Model is the brain of everything that we see today around us from the artificial intelligence. But this session is around the generative AI. So we have got two AI today. One is the traditional AI and another is the generative AI. Traditional AI is responsible for predicting business, predicting the business solutions, forecasting, classifications, clustering, and many occasions the traditional AI is being used. But generative AI is going to incorporate the existing capability plus the generative AI model is capable of generating a new content. So it means with the help of generative AI today, we can write an application, write a letter, write a story, create an image, create a videos, create musics. So essentially, we'll be able to create a new content by using generative AI models. Only we have to tell the generative AI what I want to create, what I want to generate. And that is something new on top of the traditional artificial intelligence, what we see today, which is driven by the deep learning model. Because generative AI also being powered by deep learning model, which was trained by using algorithm like transformer coming from the deep learning. But to see more detail from the traditional to the generative AI, so we can talk about the task that traditional AI can perform. You can see these are the list of tasks: classifications, object detections, object trackings, action recognitions, finding the entity from a given text, classify the different type of topics from a given text, sentiment analysis by telling whether it is positive, negative, or neutral, by reading a particular feedback or reading a particular review. So AI will be able to figure out whether it is a positive review or a negative review. So these are the list of tasks typically done by the traditional AI models. And those models is being trained on the data. And once this model is being trained, and this model can be consumed from the application to perform this kind of task. So you can develop your custom applications, or you can infuse this capability into existing application. But the primary focus remained here because these are the set of models, and every model is capable of delivering one task under the traditional model development architecture. But when you go to generative model development, so you see different kind of methodologies and architecture used here. What it says, rather than training a different model for every single task, you can train only one model who can do all of them that was done typically in the traditional AI by training one single model for every single task. And not only that, additionally, this model is capable of generating the new text code for the developers and the video, music, and images. So essentially, this new type of models under the generative AI becoming one of the most popular models and one of the most robust and powerful models, that we do not have to look for only one single model to, different models to perform the different tasks. The adaptability of the task will come from a single model. And typically these models are called as a foundation models, which is driven by transformer architecture, which is nothing but the artificial neural network that is being used to train the huge corpus of data in different format like text, images, in any other formats of the data can be given to the model to learn and then eventually get that particular models and ready to perform the task what we saw from the last column of this particular diagram. Now this model can do really wonders. As I said, it can do most of the things that is done in the traditional AI plus generating the new content. But there are few special models today extensively used. One of them is called large language models. This is the popular, in fact, the model the developer community is using, or maybe any person who would like to go and start the AI journey. They started with LLM because the LLM is being used extensively to develop the chatbot for customer support, or maybe for your own business, that you want to build a conversational AI through which you can start doing conversations with the customers, with the end user to perform a task. So without deploying any human, so AI is capable of talking to your customers and solving problems that has come from the customers. So we are trying to eliminate the human in between the customer and the problem. That is going to run 24/7 because it's just an application. It's just a system built on top of that generative AI model. Now, when you talk about the conversationals, primarily we have to go and write the questions that I want an answer, or I can go and speak using the human voice. So this model is capable of answering the input coming into this model as a text or as a voice. Both this particular model is going to understand, and subsequently the model is going to respond to the questions, to the input that has come to this model. The input collectively in the field of generative AI we call as a prompt. So you have to write the prompt to get response from the LLM. Now this LLM has another advantage because this LLM understands the natural languages. What do you mean by that? NLP. So natural language is like we do not have to grammatically correct in order to talk to the LLM. It is like a natural language that we typically use to talk to our friends and colleagues. The similar way we can go and talk to the LLM. We can write the prompt. The LLM understand the intent. What is your intent? And subsequently bring the response for you. With the help of the models, which is pre-trained by the different vendors. We are not going to train our own models because the model that I am referring to, this is all is pre-trained models. So training a model is not an easy task. It's a very robust in terms of the infrastructure that is needed to train a model. It's not just a simple task. But still we can go and get the capabilities by using the ready-made models, the pre-trained models that may be available from the different vendors. So here we are going to use the Microsoft as a vendors and start using few models from the Microsoft in order to get response against the prompt. So to net, LLM is a very special kind of models who understand the human language, and it can do the conversations with your own native language. It not necessarily you have to use English to communicate with the large language model. You can speak to the large language models because both voice and text can be processed by this particular model, and subsequently you get the response. Based on the kind of prompt that you are writing or prompt that you are giving to that particular model. And this model is being trained on the huge corpus of data, public data, which is publicly accessible. We can fine tune this model also on our own data. So if I have to develop the chatbot for my own organization, so my model has to know the organization data. So in that case, we can fine tune this LLM by providing the private data, means the organization data internally within our network, and deploy that new custom models that can be used behind the chatbot applications that is consumable within the organizations, the private one. But at this moment, nothing is private. So we are going to use the public models because those model is trained on the public data. So if you want to retrain these models to know your own data, then you have to do the fine tuning or couple of more techniques like prompt engineering or retrieval augmented generations. Now, how this particular models, what we are discussing, the generative AI model, whether it is LLM or maybe foundation models, how this model is capable of responding to the prompt. Because we talked about this model is capable of generating the response. Okay, so you can see there is an example. This is the prompt that is given to this particular model, the GPT, generative pre-trained transformer that was trained by the OpenAI based on the public data. And you can see how the response is being crafted by this particular model. Like GPT-4, you are going to take a look the list of model that may come from the different vendors. I'm saying this model is being trained at OpenAI, and all the model, most of the model that is available from the OpenAI can be seen from the Microsoft Cloud Platform also. I can get onto the Microsoft Cloud Platform to make use of these models to generate the response by writing a prompt like what we did on the screen. So the response from this particular prompt coming in the text form, but it can be image also. If I want to generate an image by describing the kind of image that I want to generate, I may go and use a model called DAL-E. This is one of the most popular model from the OpenAI, who can take the descriptions for a particular image to be generated. So we need to identify these kind of model who can do different things, who can generate different type of the data. Like last time we talked about text, now this time we are talking about image. Or maybe I can generate the code for the developers by using AI powered tools like GitHub Copilot, generative AI powered tools like GitHub Copilot. So GitHub Copilot can be associated with your dev environment, and you can definitely ask the GitHub Copilots to generate the code for you by writing the prompt like what we did here. So this is the prompt and this is the response that we get. So whether it would be the text or an image or a code, all is driven by the generative AI models, LLM or maybe foundation model. So like that, we can also make use of the model to generate videos. But they are also, every time we want to get something from the generative AI model, so we have to write that particular prompt. So I'm asking the model to generate a video like this by writing this particular prompt. And here we are using a SORA model from the OpenAI again, who is capable of generating the video based on the prompt, based on the descriptions, how you want your model to generate this particular video. So now question is that if I want to do all kind of AI capabilities, if I want to infuse into my application, where do I go and find for those models? Because this is all about the models who can do all kind of stuff that we talked about. So there are a list of vendors who has trained lots of models from these directions what we discuss for those tasks what we discuss, generating text, generating image, generating videos, generating codes, and so on and so forth, right from the OpenAI to Inflection AI, as you can see out there, including the DeepSeek and XAI. So these are the list of vendors and many more. I'm not just going after all of them, but these are the most used vendors by the AI developers, AI leaders. So you are going to get the similar kind of models, only the vendors are different. Their pricing model can be different because the most of the model, until those model is trained by the open source communities, you have to pay for consuming the model. So this is not for free. So we'll talk about in what context the payment is being made once you consume a particular model from any vendors. So we are going to go to the Microsoft vendors and take a look the list of models available at this moment from the Microsoft that can be consumed by your applications to do all kind of tasks what we are discussing. This is what we are going to explore. Because why Microsoft? Because Microsoft is going to give us a platform where we can develop enterprise application. Because right from the security to compliance, everything is available. Right from the responsible framework to the ethical use, we are going to get out of the box guidelines and the frameworks. When you have to design and build AI system, it is more appropriate to go to this kind of vendor because this is aligned with the enterprise security and compliances. But when you use a model from any of these vendors, we need to pay for the model. So how typically the payment is being made once you consume a model? So typically it is based on how many word that model process in a particular conversations that is going to be counted as a number of tokens. So one word means approximately 4 character equal to 1 token from the English language point of view. So if I'm writing a prompt, the LLM is going to calculate the number of the word by converting them into the number of tokens. And after processing the input, LLM is going to generate the response, and there also it will count the number of token that is getting generated from the model. The sum of the both input and output would be counted as a number of token that has consumed in a particular conversations with LLM. So hypothetically, if I'm consuming a 1 million token, so I pay approximately $10. So that is a kind of slot you are going to be allocated at the time of deploying a models before you go and consume this model from your application. So token is a terminology that you need to know that is related to the pricing model of LLM, because eventually it gets calculated. The model is accountable for how many word is being processed and how many word is being generated after processing the input. So collectively, both is going to be counted, and that will look into the subscription model, under which subscription model we are in, to figure out how many token can be consumed in a given unit of measurement that is being allocated to the any models by the vendors. But until we practically see this, we won't be able to anticipate what we have discussed so far. I talked about the artificial intelligence ecosystem like traditional AI and generative AI. So how generative AI is different from the traditional AI? That is also being discussed. Now, eventually, to do all kind of things, we need to get a model. So rather than build your own model, you can go to those vendors. We will go to Microsoft to get models, but yes, you can go to any vendors that is listed in the deck and figure out the models that you want to consume from your application to perform a particular task based on the input prompt and output response. But in between, we need to understand also the pricing model, because this model, most of the model is not coming to you for free. You have to pay for this model. So how the payment is being made based on the number of token used in a particular conversations will be counted against the allocation slot that was given to that particular model in the beginning at the time of deploying the model. So we will go to a quick demo to make you understand what I have been talking about. So if you have any questions so far before I go to demos, feel free to ask. As I said, we will be stick to the Microsoft platforms. Especially here, we are going to talk about the Microsoft Cloud platforms, from where we can find the models and we'll start using the model. We'll start consuming the models by interacting through my prompt. So before we go and implement that, so we talk about the different use cases. So we got a fair idea by now. So what could be the general use cases that we can talk about? Content generations, data analysis and insight, code generations and debugging, personalized learning and tutoring, and decision making and strategic planning. So all is possible. Yeah, so any doubt you can write there in the team. So if you want to ask any questions, so you can definitely ask your questions. And beyond the day-to-day AI implementation, so we can use this artificial intelligence, the generative AI models, in the field of healthcare, finance, educations, customer service, marketing, legal, software development, human resources, manufacturing and retail and inventories. Why they are building models for a pricing? Can they use their product GPay or an account? I mean, like, you can definitely use a GPay to buy the model. That's a different case altogether. So it is all about paying the model. But most of the model is always a subscription base. Subscription base means it's like a credit card. So that's not like a GPay. Suppose today you started using the models, at the end of the month, the bill will come to you, because then only the model will know how many token you have consumed, like how many product that you bought. The credit card will get to know at the end of the month. Although the credit card is going to keep track of every transaction, so similarly, the model is going to keep track of every transactions during the month. At the end of the month, you are going to get a bill for the model that you have consumed from your application. So it is not compared with the GPay. Yes, you can pay that particular bill with the GPay or any other channels that you would like to use. Okay, so why these models are developed? As I said, the model can answer your questions, right? Model can do many things. For example, model will be able to do the fraud detections in banking industries, because typically the human is deployed to understand any transactions that is happen in the bank, whether it's a fraud transactions or a genuine transaction. But today the millions of transactions is happening at the same time. So it is beyond the human capacities to detect which transaction is the fraud transaction, which transaction is the genuine one. So we have to delegate that kind of task to the artificial intelligence. And this model is capable of doing that kind of task, the fraud detections. The one of the example that I'm talking about, there may be many more. So that's why before we implement the model to do that job, we have to develop that model. So we don't call it a develop the model, so we call it a train the model. Because the model has to know how to detect a fraud, right? I need to know something, then only I can answer to your query. It's the same thing, like. So keep training your model, keep training your models. That model is capable of detecting the fraud in the bank without deploying any human at real time. Like we are talking about the generating the marketing content. Suppose you want to start with a marketing campaign of your product. So you want to do the marketing in Instagram, or you want to do a marketing in Facebook. So you want to write a complete story about your product with images, videos, and the text. So you have to go to the content creator to do that job. But today you don't have to go to any individual. You can go to the artificial intelligence, this model, and you just explain about your marketing campaign. So you can just go, and yes, the chat GPT is just a one product from the open AI, right? But you can develop that kind of product for a specific need. Like I talk about fraud detection. ChatGPT won't be able to detect a fraud within a bank like Axis Bank or HDFC Bank, right? Because they need to get access to the private data. But you can use the model like GPT models, you can retrain by using the data in SDFC or Axis or maybe SBI, then you will be able to provide this kind of solutions to the customers. This is data scientist, not data analytics. So data scientists will be able to identify the algorithms that can produce, or the model who can deliver the job of fraud detections, or maybe other industry use cases of what we are looking at this moment. Okay, so we are going to see that these are the industries use cases from the healthcare to the retail. As you can see, everywhere artificial intelligence is going to be used. As a leader, as a developer, or as an architect, we need to go into the detail of the implementation beyond the chat GPT that you use. This is just a ready-made product from the OpenAI. You ask a questions, you get an answer. But that is not going to solve your real life problem within the organization business problem. So then you need to understand those models and how this model can be used in your own context, used in your own data. So that is important. So you might need knowledge of the data science or an machine learning or a deep learning to train a model, but at this moment we are not getting into that particular space as an end user, or just to understand the capabilities, the ecosystem the generative AI is covering at this moment, delivering at this moment. Okay, so that is something what we need to focus. Perfect. So now what I said, let us quickly go and try and figure out practically where can I get this model? How can I use these models, and so on and so forth. So I'll go and make use of Microsoft Cloud Platform. I'll go to the Microsoft Cloud Platform here. And then I go to the list of the AI service. And I do have a service called Azure OpenAI. I'll create a resource group. I'll give a name of the service. And I select the pricing tier. Means how am I going to pay for the model as I discussed. If you want to know more about that, you can go and take a look based on the type of model that you are going to. So this is, I'll go to suppose one of the popular model like GPT-4. Right, so how you're going to pay for that for 1 million token. Yes, your mic is off, so you can only interact with the team only. So if you have any questions, so you can always write through. Okay, so I'm explaining like GPT-4o model. You can go up to any model. And he said if you consume 1 million tokens, so you pay 214 rupees for the prompt, and for the response you pay 857 rupees. Or if you want to retain the output given by the prompt for the future used, you have to pay 107 rupees. So this is a kind of rough calculations how you are going to pay back to the vendors once you have consumed a particular model from that particular vendors. So we know the token. So for English language, the 8 character equal to 1 token. So if you write a prompt, so your model is going to calculate by breaking the prompt by converting into a tokens. And it will say how many token eventually you consume in a particular conversation. And you have to pay for these many tokens based on the conversations that you had with your model. So let's go and deploy this service. Okay, those tokens are countings of time used in an applications according to server and no. This is the token means one word equal to no. This one model. So it's basically one word, like you can say 4 character. Hypothetically, you can say 4 character. Okay, 4 character equal to 1 token. 1 token, right? So suppose if you write a prompt, write a letter with a following subject, then it will start counting the number of token that you use in the input text. So hypothetically, you can go by 1 word equal to 1 token. So in English language, that would be a 4 character in average equal to 1 token. So I'll go and get access to this particular service. It could be model uses or an email, Skype, Teams, emails. It is only the models, it's not the emails or the Skypes or Teams, or you can integrate the model with those applications like email applications or Skype or Teams or phone calls or something like that. Okay, so now we would like to see the list of model that is accessible through this API. I have just deployed an API because behind the APIs we will get access to the model. So let me go to another portal we call as a AI Foundry portal. It's an independent portal to give you every details about the model. So now I can go to the model catalog to see the list of the models that is available for this particular service that I have created some time back. You can see there are 35 models available. We talked about GPT some time back. Was it in the case with the traditional software system or only the Gen AI pricing dealing with the only Gen AI use the concept of token to calculate the unit of price that you have to pay for a particular model. Yes. So now we are into the 35 list of model. This is the model catalog, but we have no clue which model can deliver what. Now here is a inference the task. Suppose I want to use a model for conversation. So I can write a prompt, model will respond to the prompt. So most of the model is being built around the conversational models. Now, if I want to use a model, I want to see the list of the model that can be used in the conversation. So I can go to the second last called chat completion. So if I select this category, inference, so I can see one of this model from the list can be used to build a conversations with the artificial intelligence. Like you can develop your own chatbot by using one of the model from that particular list. Suppose I want to go with something like GPT-4o mini. So I select GPT-4o mini and I'll try and deploy the model. So there is a deploy button, but before we deploy, we can read what this model is all about, what it does, what is the inference that model can do. When this model was trained, okay, so you can see those details. So this model can be used to do the conversations with all the language, not just in English. I can talk to this model using one of this language. These are the language abbreviations that you can see. But yes, I mean, like, you can make use of this. Okay, so that the specification, the model can be seen out there. This model is exposed to the Microsoft Azure OpenAI service. And this model is always under a framework of responsible AI and ethical use of this AI. You won't be able to ask or you won't be able to write a prompt if this prompt will come under the category of violence or a hate or any kind of sexual content. You won't be able to do the conversation with this model. So the state of art infrastructure is inbuilt from this Microsoft Cloud platform. Adhere to the responsible AI framework or ethical use of this particular AI, because today the AI is being used in negative context also, like creating a deep fake videos with the help of generative AI model, impersonating a human in a video, in an image. These are the typical the AI implementations in negative way is available today, and you are experiencing all kind of things. But when you develop something by using Microsoft Cloud platforms, you are going to work within an ethical, within a secure system, the infrastructure within a responsible AI framework. So with that, I can go and deploy this model. So I can change the name, but let it be the same name. Okay, this model is not available here, so it will go to the EastUS2, so I can get another model. If model is available there, so I'll go with GPT-4 only. Yeah, it is available in East US because my service is being deployed in the East US. So we should be able to find a model from the same region. Otherwise, we have to create another endpoints to access this particular model. That is also fine. If you cannot find some other model, you can still go ahead with the previous model, but it will go and give you another OpenAI service that is going to create implicitly for you. I press the deploy button, and now we can use this model in the conversation. So how can I use this model in the conversation? Either I have to build an application, or I can get a ready-made playground to interact with that particular model. This is the playground section from the AI Foundry. And you can automatically see in the drop down your models that you have deployed some time back has pop in, and you are ready to go with the conversations that you have. But before we go and do the conversations with the model by writing a prompt, I can set the context for the models by writing a system message. This is called system message. That can be written for multiple reason, multiple purpose. The main purpose of writing this message of setting context to the LLM, what kind of conversations that we are going to have. So I'm writing here, you are an intelligent AI assistant designed to provide the clear, concise, and accurate information. Always prioritize clarity, accuracy, and practical usability in your response. So I'm setting the tone for the LLM, how the LLM is supposed to react to my prompt. It is all about role play. The LLM is going to play in the conversations typically. So I can go and you can just go and say something like this. So first we can greet with this. So I just wanted to apply the changes because I did it. I can start with you can see that it's like a human. It started answering like a human. So it is all about the intent that you can see there. Okay. So I can also go and talk about something like this. So here is a upload file. I can go and upload a report. So I can just go and upload a report, something like this. If I get here, if it is capable of doing that, it is going to go and take only one type of file. So I can go and create is this something kind of kickstart or pitching in with AI company and client or a business person? Yes, this is for the leader who try to understand the AI and their uses, not technical, not developing your own kind of applications by writing code. It is all about no code and low code kind of platform that we are using to figure out the capability of artificial intelligence that you can think about in your own context. I don't know what you're talking about, AI business model, GPT-4. Okay, so GPT-4 is just a model, so you can use to do the conversations, but GPT-4 is trained on the public data. It cannot be contextualized. It cannot be used for a particular business domain. So you need to know how you can fine tune, how we can fine tune the model. Pricing, right? So I said the business model. Okay, so business model for generative AI. Yeah, it could be one of them. So business model is all about like it's a service that you consume and you have to pay for the service. As simple as that. Okay, so what I was talking about, I said I can just go and write a prompt like this. Apart from asking the questions, I can go and say summarize the sales report. So I can say something like sales report. Okay, I'm saying, but I have to upload the self report. But at this moment, this model is not capable of taking the Excel file. And then we can also go and say analyze by drawing a graph, something like this. By drawing a graph like this. So it means since this model is capable of generating the new content, it could be in a form of graph, it could be in a form of report based on the input that I am providing. So it may not be only the conversation, so we can take it to the next level. So we can give data and we can ask questions after providing the data. I'm just giving some kind of example out here, because this is something what we are writing as a prompt. We already say hello and we got the response because it was a greeting message. It's like a human, the model understand and how to greet me back. Yeah, Vishwajit, what you're saying, actually, I'm student, I'm doing some experiment with the OpenAI API and the Google to make some interesting. This is now not ready for the business. Okay, great. So thanks for sharing your experience in this field of generative AI. You can definitely go to the OpenAI platforms, get the OpenAI key, and you can develop your own Python application to consume those models. And you can, yeah, come up with some kind of business use cases uh, and align with your product, what you're supposed to develop at the end of the day. Okay, now we can go and ask any kind of questions, as I say, for a customer support. We can talk about some kind of prompt like this. I'm just trying to give you some templates that you understand the what kind of conversations that we are seeing. So you are a customer service bot and e-commerce platforms. A customer said my order has not arrived. Tracking says delivered. Provide a profile, a polite step, provide a polite step by step resolution process. But I cannot write this prompt to this model because this model is not aware of that particular custom, because it is not within that particular system and organizations or maybe a vendors. But in context of customer support, we can write this kind of prompt. And your application that you develop can be backed by the models to perform this kind of task that I'm talking about. So you can go very specific. That is definitely there. I mean, you can be very specific, domain specific prompt that you are writing, or you can go and write a very in general kind of prompt also. Right? So it's up to you, like how you want your prompt to be crafted or maybe aligned with your need that you want to perform through this model that we are talking about. Okay, so yes, I mean, like, so you just need to know the context before we go and write the prompt and get the response. And we talk about, apart from generating text, this model is capable of generating code also. So I can write a prompt saying that you are a Python expert. Write a functions to calculate a factorial of two numbers and then explain how it's worked line by line. At least I can go and write this prompt, because this prompt is nothing to be specific to a particular business domain at this moment. But you can see this is the response that I get. It is not only generating the code for me, it is going to explain the code also. Okay. From the different contexts, you can also set it up like this is, so you can say already you have consumed 405 tokens out of the token that is allocated to this particular model at this moment. Or we can write this kind of prompt again, different context that I'm trying to set. You are an HR specialist, craft a job descriptions for a junior data analyst role, including the key responsibility and the skill in 100 words. So it is not only telling the model what they're supposed to do, but you are also controlling the response. Your response need to be within 100 words. Like this. So let's see how the model is going to generate the content for this prompt. So your model worked as an HR specialist. Like in the field of manufacturing, so you can also set a context to the models to play a role, like you are a process engineer. So given a production line with the 10% defect rate due to the machine's calibration, suggest a 3 improvement with step-by-step implementation. This is kind of chain of thoughts, not going at the one go, but the step-by-step implementations that you can see. Categorically, they are saying the result that we are getting out there. So it will explain everything because we are generating content, but with a context as a role play, or we are controlling the outcome also at the same time. Or in the field of retail also. You can write this kind of prompt here. You are a retail analyst. That is the role that LLM is going to play within your context of conversation. So based on this data, predict the demand for March 2025, or maybe I can say here it's something like May 2025, and explained your reasoning. Okay, but here it does not make any sense at this moment. Right? So you can write based on the data, but it has to give you a kind of the domain informations additionally this, but I'm just trying to explain the kind of prompt that you can write before you go and build your own system. Right? Because this is all about role play that you are getting at this moment. So you can go on and on, like you can talk about you are a sort of you are a legal assistant, review this clause, partly list the potential risk in the delayed payments in bulleted points. Right, so I talked about different industries. So tomorrow, if you go and make use of these models, we can make this model relevant to your own industry's own domain with your own set of data that you can use this kind of prompt to do the conversations in order to generate the relevant response. We are only talking about few of them, but most of them cannot be written without a domain specific data. So if I want some kind of things, like suppose if I go to an option here, so you have something like add your data. You can see this, add your own data source. Like for example, I will go and change this system message. You are a travel assistant. You help people by finding information, travel related. Okay, so you can say this or only. So you're not supposed to answer anything else apart from the travel related queries. So the moment I change my context from the previous context to this, because I'm asking this model to play a role of travel assistant. So here I can go and start greeting that models by starting with hello. And you see a different kind of greeting message. How can I assist you with your travel plan today? Since I changed my system message, I have given a context to the LLM. The LLM is ready to do the conversations within the context that we set. I can say, I am Dubai next week. And I just to say where stay, list me few hotels. Right? So that is a kind of prompt that I am writing to this particular model. So model go and started giving me the response according to the prompt. But in a travel agent, the response could be a different. Means in a travel agency, the response could be a different. Because that travel agency may tie up with only few hotel in Dubai. So when somebody is going to ask through the bot, through the conversational AI, so that travel agency will definitely going to respond only the list of hotels they do business with. So now, according to the knowledge of the models, the model has come back and tell me that But what if I don't want this kind of response, the generic response? I need a very specific response that has to come from a source of the data which is relevant to my business, my own organizations, my own context. So in that, we can go and add our own data. Suppose if I have my PDF like this, and this is the PDF talks about little bit of Dubai, and with the 3 hotels that you can see right there. So when I'm going to write the prompt, the model has to come back and respond with only this 3 hotel name, not any other hotels apart from these 3 hotels. The same prompt that I'm going to write that I just has written, but it has given all those yes. You have to get a subscription. First, you have to get a subscription of Microsoft Cloud, that is Azure. And once you get a subscription, the AI is one service. Everything that you consume from the subscription, you are going to get a bill at the end of the month. So when you buy a subscriptions, you don't have to pay, but you have to put your credit card. That your billing will be done in 30 days, like your credit card bill. Okay. So this is a kind of business model for the model that we are talking about. Now let me go and do this. So what we have to do, I have to go and create couple of services to do this implementation. The first, I need a storage to upload that PDF. So I'll go to the storage. I'll create a storage. There is a storage account. So I'll give a storage account like my storage. So I'll quickly go and create this storage. Right, the storage is created that I can upload my PDF. I'll create a container, means that folder like and I can go to this particular folder and upload that PDF that we saw some time back. So I can go and upload that. This is the Dubai one. And then I will create another service. to find the data from this particular document. The service name is AI Search. I go and create this. Right, so all good. Now I can go back to my playground from where I would. So here I say add my data source. I'll go to my storage account. I pick up this container where I have uploaded my PDF and I select the Azure Search Service. And this service is capable of fetching data from the PDF and give it to the LLM, and LLM will craft a response for me. And this is also called as a retrieval augmented generations, the RAG solutions. So this data would be indexed within this particular service. It become easy that service go and find this. So with that, I can go to the next. So I'm going to find on the semantic search, like basically the related data that I would be finding from that. And the rest is all okay. Yes, you can upload multiple PDFs. For time constraint, I'm just doing only one. So it takes time to process multiple one, but yes, you can. So now it will start processing this document, means it will go and store the document inside the Azure AI Search. When I'm going to write the prompt, it will go and find the data from that particular service, the search service, and give me exactly what is being uploaded in that storage. Now it is done. So with the new context has come, so new session has started. I'll go back and write the same prompt. I copied from the same thing. I'll not change a word itself. And now I go and start asking these questions. And this time you go and see the response. Only the 3 hotels that you saw from the PDF. The Hotel Creek, Dera and the Lost City. I mean, like, this is the 3 hotel in Dubai can be seen now in the response. Because you can validate this document. We saw this document some time back. This is the document where we talk about these 3 hotels only. So it is different from the previous response. In general, what we got from the model, but I have given a different context to the model by providing the data. And it's give me the reference also from where this data is coming. Right? So this is to control the knowledge base that particular model had at the time of training this model. Because we can kind of giving a new context to the model with the new data that your LLM can go and find this from the sources. Like I do have the service, and I can go and take a look of this data by going into an index. So we have to go and figure it out. This is what that is being stored out here. Right, so this is how, because that is the index that I have created, and under the index we have this particular PDF. Now when I'm going and writing the prompt, it goes to that particular service and fetch the semantic data and give it to the model that is selected on the top, and model is going to craft the response for me, and this is precisely what is being done here. So we are giving the context to the models by providing our own data. Yes, so number of, no, that data processing is done by the Azure source. You have to pay differently for that. We are still paying the model by the token. In this conversation, I use 140 token. That is the size, that is the bytes that is being used, that is being stored inside the AI search service. There's a separate cost to store the data on the cloud also. So when you build a system, it is not only a one service that we are using. That's how the enterprise will come into the picture. Okay, so this is what so apart from that also, we can also set the parameters here. It says when I'm giving a response, when model is going to give a response, you can include the previous response for better understanding or to make more fine-tuned response by learning from the previous conversation. You can also control the number of token that you want to consume in the response. That is the maximum. I can use 800 token. How big my questions could be, but you cannot go beyond 800 tokens when it's come to a response. Temperature value can be in between 0 and 1. The value towards the 0, you are going to get more accurate response. Value towards the 1, you are going to get more dynamic without losing the context that you have asked. So these are the parameters beyond what we have done to control the response that will come from the LLM that is being used at this moment. Right, so apart from that, also how we can consume the models, you can see the code also, right? So this is a kind of Python code is written to consume. So there is an SDK using Azure OpenAI to build a client object that you can talk to the OpenAI in this context. So this is the code that you can see to talk to the OpenAI. Client.chat.completions.create. Right, so rest of the parameters just now we talked about. and the data source that we have given. That is the endpoint of, so where, who is going to provide the data to this? The data will come from the AI search service. You can see the endpoint of that particular service. Just now we saw where my PDF is being stored. So this is the inner working. So as a developer, you can go and write code to build your own applications to do this kind of activity, what we have done out of the box from the AI Foundry portal. But beyond that, we have more models. If you see the list of the model that you get in the root of the AI foundries, it is approximately more than 1,000 models. It's approximately 2,000 model that you can see. And here you can see the model from the multiple vendors. These are the vendors that I talked about, top 10 vendors that I talk about, including NVIDIA, DeepSeek. You can see that. Stability AI, Hugging Face. The maximum model has come from the Hugging Face because Hugging Face is a repository for open source model. Okay, so with that we have come to a conclusion for today's session. Hope you got the insight to the artificial intelligence and how it can be used in a day-to-day basis, and what are the underlying technology and tools and the platforms. That is what we discussed today. So if you have any questions, so how do you deploy it so that it can be available internet for access? Yes, you can use Olama, or you can deploy from here also. There is an option. So if you want to deploy in the Azure itself, you can go and deploy. Like I can go back to my previous one. You can still go and deploy that. So whatever we have built so far. Right, so this is gone because I have just moved out of these things. We have to rebuild, but we have an option for deploy once everything is done here. All right, so thank you for joining this. I hope to see you in upcoming webinar on a different topic altogether. So hope the session has give you the informations related to the generative AI to start with. You have to create an app for a Teams. You have to create a co-pilot apps for the MS Teams. Then only it is possible. So thank you, everyone.
Oh, guys, don't forget to give feedback. I have shared the link in the chat box. I'll share it again. You can end the meet when you're done giving the feedback. It will be really helpful for us. Please give your feedback on the link given. I've shared it again. Once again, thank you so much, everyone. I hope you guys liked the session. Thank you so much.